Hey everybody, it's Heidi Hope and it's FAQ Friday. Thanks for joining me this week. We have a ton of questions, our most questions ever. We're still taking questions over on our Facebook page, but I'm also starting to take questions on Instagram, and we have almost just as many questions there this week. So we're definitely not going to get to all the questions this week, but of course, if you submitted a question and I don't answer it this week, please resubmit it in the weeks to come. I eventually get to all of them, and I try, if it's a question that I've recently answered in our other episodes, I do try to just pull it out of the mix before we get started. So all your questions printed out in a bag right here. I'm just going to draw them randomly. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can this week. Just a couple reminders before we get started. First, the online workshop, which is running in May, the registration for that ends on this Monday. And if you get our newsletter for photographers, you'll know that I have no other teaching on the schedule after. I've got 3 teaching events coming up, and then we have nothing else on the schedule after that because we have the baby on the way. Also, if you missed, I did end up getting the call from the doctor after last week's episode. We were talking about the gender reveal and how I still didn't know the gender, but we got the call. I actually had missed a call from the doctor during last week's FAQ Friday. So we called them back after the episode and we found out what we're having. And I didn't have time to plan a fancy shoot or anything like that. I was just too excited to share our news. So we grabbed some cupcakes on the way home from work, and we surprised the girls with what their new little sibling was going to be. And we posted a video of their hilarious reaction over on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can check it out there. So that's there from last week. You can, if you're not registered for our newsletter, which is just sort of my personal thoughts on the photography world and on teaching and different announcements related to teaching, you can sign up for that over on HeidiHope.com/learning. There's little sign up boxes everywhere. So make sure you sign up for that to keep in touch. And my teaching world, because after this June, the newborn retreat, I do not have any other teaching planned. I'm taking some time off from that to focus on the new baby on the way and our studio 9 to 5, which keeps me pretty busy. So definitely sign up for that so we can still keep in touch. So the 3 teaching events coming up are the online workshop in May. Then in early June, I am flying to Baltimore to teach at a Sales for Photographers conference, which is amazing. You can get that information in today's newsletter. And I will be posting that on Facebook on Monday too. So if you haven't heard about that yet, that info will go up there. And then finally is the maternity and newborn retreat, which is over halfway sold out. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. It's my dream workshop. I want to be an attendee, but I'm going to teach at it. But it's going to be really awesome. So that is going on in June as well. And then after that, I've got a little hiatus coming up. Okay, so you can still always catch me every Friday on FAQ Friday, and you can ask me your burning questions here. So let's get into these this week. Just got 2. Okay. This one is from Joanne. Joanne asks, hi, Heidi. How do you deal with family and friends wanting a photo shoot? Do you still give them the same pricing or provide a discount? I feel that family and friends are hard to deal with because they automatically expect a discount and are mostly the pickiest ones. Isn't this the truth, Joanne? I think, no offense to my family and friends, I love all of you dearly. But yes, it can be difficult working with family and friends. And I think anyone in business, not just photographers, I think anyone in business can relate to this. In fact, one of my pieces of advice for workshop attendees when we talk about building their business and hiring people, I'm always like, don't hire your friends and family, because it's very hard. It can be very difficult in business situations to not treat people as friends and family, to treat them as customers, and for them to respect you as a business owner. Sometimes they want a little bit extra, which is fine if you have the resources to give it to them. I always used to do a lot of free stuff for friends and family when I started, and I love to be able to do that. And honestly, I wish I had all the hours in the world, and I would work for free if I could, but I do have bills to pay. I do have a family to support, and we also have employees here, and we have the overhead of our studio. And for every free or discounted session that I take on here, it's one full pay client that I have to turn away. And when your business has a certain amount that it has to make every month to be able to pay your bills and stay afloat, it can be difficult to take on a large quantity of discounted sessions. So we do offer a discount, but we offer a 20% friends and family discount to our immediate friends and family. And that is just something, and that's off of our regular product line. So they still pay the session fee and they still pay for all the products and stuff. It's just a discount off of that. And that's basically what we're able to afford to give them as a discount without actually losing money on their session. Because for every hour that this studio is open, there is an overhead amount of money that we have to make per hour here. And we limit our number of sessions per week to keep the experience really high end and customized for the clients who choose us. So we don't want anything else to interfere with that. We want to really be able to give everyone the time and attention that they deserve, including our friends and family. And I had 10 bridesmaids, and they're all having babies right now. So really I could just full-time just photograph their kids for free. But I just try to have a balance, and that has seemed to be the way that has worked best for us. There's no wrong way to do it. If you have the time and you want to give that to people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you need to charge, then I think there's nothing wrong with that either. And friends and family really should understand, and they should support you. And I think if there's any other job, like for example, if my sister is an accountant, I'm not going to ask her to do my accounting for free necessarily, or expect her to do my accounting for free. Maybe she'll hook me up with a discount. But of course, I'm also, when I put things out that way, I'm also not offended if they choose somebody else. So I understand that our studio isn't the right fit for everybody. And I don't expect them to choose me just because I'm their friend. So if they want to go to another photographer, in the same breath, that does not offend me at all. And I really want them to choose what's right for them and their family and their budget, and not just choose me because I'm a friend. So that's sort of how we deal with that. But I can understand it can be tricky. And I know a lot of photographers struggle with this because I do get that question a lot. So great question. Thank you. Okay. Okay, this question comes from TMSSS. Love FAQ Fridays. Thanks for doing it. Do you find it harder to find cute baby boy props versus girl props? Can you please show us some of your favorite boy setups and props and tell us where you got them from, especially the hats and the cream rug that you've been using a lot? Thanks a lot. Well, I get my props kind of from all over the place. So I use a lot of different vendors. Sometimes you'll see them tagged on Facebook, but I just buy a lot of the hats and things on Etsy. The little cream rug that you're referring to is originally from Target, I think. Yeah, it's like 5 years old. It's that little cream one. But you can also buy cream fur like anywhere online. If you just like Google newborn photography props, cream fur, you'll find like every vendor sells stuff like that. So you'll definitely be able to find a lot of that out there. But the smaller like pelt looking rug, that was originally from Target, maybe 5 years back or so. And it is hard to find boy stuff. So I'm struggling with this now because I'm looking for cute baby boy things, and I'm so used to all the girly stuff. And I think my taste I tend to like lighter, softer colors, which are great for newborns and babies of all kinds. But I think that I tend to have like a little bit more of a feminine touch sometimes to my sets and everything. So it is harder to find baby boy themes, like to be creative with baby boy themes. But I try to stick to, in all my work, my girl and my boy work, but in general, I try to keep things relatively timeless. So when I am doing a baby boy theme, I try to, while I'm incorporating the theme, still think about like in 10 years, in 20 years, and 30 years, is this photo going to look like it was a trend, or is this photo going to look like it's timeless and still captures the essence of what makes the baby beautiful without kind of overdoing it or overwhelming them with too many props, accessories, and background elements? So I am kind of always thinking about that. So for simple, choose classic like soft blues, soft greens, and yellows and turquoises and gray. I love gray right now for baby boys. And I will just keep everything really neutral within a set and then add pops of those colors through little has hit stuffers and things like that. So that's a great question. Boys are definitely, I think it is a little bit more challenging, but there's certainly lots of things that you can do. I think that there's just so much out there for girls. It's like, it's almost overwhelming how much there is for girls. You almost can't decide what you want to do because there's just so much. Okay, let me pull another question here. Oh gosh, I keep pulling like 3 at a time. So let's pull Colleen's. Colleen asks, I saw on Photographer Rising that you use ACR to edit raw files versus Lightroom. Can you explain why you like ACR better? Great question, Colleen. I use ACR instead of Lightroom because we have a whole team here that works on images. And Lightroom, the Lightroom library, unfortunately, is connected to one computer. So for us all to be able to access edits that were made within Lightroom, becomes really difficult. And also if I want to go home and edit on my home computer using Lightroom, it's like you lose a lot of the edit information, where Adobe Camera Raw, ACR, which you were referring to, when I edit in ACR, it saves those edits on the raw file as a separate XMP file, and that file remains. So while you're not degrading the quality of the original file by doing edits, it's still retaining the original. I've got a tag along XMP file that is a record of all the edits that you did. So that works a lot better in our studio situation where we have a lot of people working on the same files together. And for that reason, I've tried Lightroom. I love Lightroom, and pretty much everything I do in Adobe Camera Raw is the same as what you would do in Lightroom. It's very, very similar, the two programs. But for our flow, ACR has just always worked better. And it also would take a lot of time. I think we're so fast in ACR at this point, it would take a lot of time for us to then use Lightroom as quickly and efficiently. However, if Lightroom started to make the whole library situation a little bit, then I think we probably would switch over, because its cataloging is definitely far superior to Bridge. So that's just why we use that. By the way, I put all the Instagram questions, because there were so many of them. I put them in the mix with everybody else's this week, because there were so many that if I gave them all priority, we probably wouldn't get to anybody else's questions. So just to make it fair. Okay, this question is from Kim. Nailing the enough shutter speeds, but should I be on auto selection or manual selection in my autofocus, L-Focus or L-Servo? I can't figure out the difference between these two. Any tips appreciated? Well, Kim, first I shoot Nikon, so my terminology is a little different with autofocus. We don't have L-Servo. We have continuous autofocus mode is the comparable function in the camera. But for autofocus, I'm actually modes, because really different situations are going to work better for different autofocus modes. So the ones I use most common are, I use a single point autofocus, which would be your L-Focus, I think. So I would use that single point and choose one point, and manually choose that point. So you can use the little button on the back of your camera to choose where that point's going. And then you could also focus and recompose if you wanted to from that single point. Sometimes I focus manually. If I have a subject that is still, like a newborn, I actually like to focus manually so that I can accurately get exactly the point that I want. I do like that. My subject is moving, then I will switch to continuous autofocus mode or L-Servo. And in that case, I would choose multiple focus points on the back of the camera and let the camera choose for me. But that is when you're choosing continuous or L-Servo, the camera is consistently refocusing for you. So if you get that at all, even if it's just a baby who's like moving around a lot on the rug that you have them on, or certainly with toddlers and older children, or if you have, you have the family walking towards the camera, let's say, L-Servo or continuous are going to be better for all of those situations where the subject is moving. So in that case, I will do that. And then in really tricky situations like backlighting, or if there's like a patterned background, or sometimes even on my barnwood where there's little holes in the barnwood that your camera thinks is an eyeball and wants to focus on, then I will switch to manual, and I will manually focus using the focal ring on my lens. So sessioning back and forth between all those different modes quite a few times. I'd say at least a dozen times that I'm changing my autofocus within a 45-minute or a 1-hour session. And it just takes a lot of practice just to get really comfortable with your camera modes. I pulled 2. I'll answer both of them. Let's see. We're going to start with Karen asks, hi, Heidi. Happy Friday. I know that you've restructured your newborn sessions and pricing. Can you share why, what you did and why? Thank you. Any baby name ideas yet? No baby name ideas yet. We don't know. I don't know. It's so hard. I'm not. Maybe we'll look this weekend. I'm not there yet. But as far as the restructuring the newborn sessions, what we did is we just added an additional session. So our newborn sessions are where they were before, but we added a second session option. So the first session, which is what we've always done traditionally, includes all that sleeping newborn posing. It's a longer session. It's like a 2-hour session where the baby's sleeping the whole time, and we're doing all the, where they're naked, and we're doing all the posing on the beanbag or in baskets or in different sets like that. So it really focuses on the newborn. The second type of newborn session that we added was actually to accommodate older babies, or for clients who didn't want that so much focus on that sleeping newborn posing. So it's more of a lifestyle type session, and it can be done with babies that are up to 12 weeks old. They're swaddled for most of the session. It focuses a lot on the interaction with the family. It does not include that newborn beanbag posing. It's about an hour long. So it's a great option for families who either really want to focus more on the family and sibling portraits, or have an older baby. Maybe they missed that window where the baby was super sleepy, but they still want something really special and beautiful to commemorate the newborn time period of so because, you know, a 6-week-old baby, they still look like a newborn. And so it's really a beautiful time to still get portraits. So these shorter sessions are a great option for families who don't want the longer experience, or maybe that newborn pose style. There are a lot of people who want more classic looking portraits. And so we do that kind of stuff. So it's really just kind of adding on to the option that we already had rather than changing what we had. And then our standard, our signature newborn session, it's called, that all remains the same. So it was really, so the reason why, I guess, was just to provide more options, to provide something for families who have an older baby, or maybe who just like more lifestyle candid type photos rather than the heavily posed stuff. Which after having Grace, I really started to love all that family stuff even more. I think that is just so special to capture that interaction of families welcoming their new baby. Okay, and here's Molly. I pulled her at the same time. So Molly asks, hey Heidi, when you did on-location shoots, what did you bring with you? Did you bring different backgrounds? I've been doing backlighting a lot, and I need to mix it up a bit. Thanks for taking the time to answer our questions. Hugs. Great question, Molly. So I've done a little bit of both. At this point, when I first started, I used to bring everything on location, like all the backdrop stands and rolls of paper, and set it all up at a client's home. But honestly, the resulting pictures are just not as good. So I really moved away from that, because the stuff in the studio is going to come out better. And at the end of the day, clients really want great photos. So I try to steer people towards choosing the options that are going to give them the best final results. So if they want studio style stuff, they come to the studio for it. If I go on location, it's going to be using the environment that they're in. So it's going to be using their home, their furniture, their backyard, even outdoor sessions. I might bring a few small props, but I'm not bringing backgrounds. I'm not bringing background stands. The only time I still do that occasionally is for our celebrity clients. So a few times a year, there are clients who either cannot feasibly come to us. So I will go to them, and let's say they want a cake smash. I'm going to bring my background stands, and I'll do the cake smash in their home. It still doesn't come out as good as when I'm doing it at the studio, where I have a controlled situation that I've set up. You never know what type of light you're going to walk into in a client's home. And a lot of our celebrity clients are in the Boston area. They're living in older, townhouses and stuff like that, where they might not have great natural light in those spaces. So that can be really challenging to work with. And, I think the gals are beautiful, but would they have been better at the studio? Yes, definitely. So I just kind of work with whatever situation we have. But typical clients, if they can come to the studio, we really encourage them to come to the studio, because they're going to get much better portraits out of it. And it's just an easier, especially with like newborns and young babies, it's an easier experience for families, even if they're driving an hour to get here, to have a photographer come to your home if you feel that you have to have things cleaned or picked up or make a space available where we could set studio style stuff up within a home, it can be a lot of work for the parents. So sometimes getting out of the house and coming to us is just so much easier for them. So we do sort of a combination, and I have done it both ways, but I really recommend them coming to us if possible. And when I do go to houses, I try to just use the house as much as possible, and I leave most of the studio stuff home. So hope that answers your question. Okay, I think we have time. We'll do one more today. Gosh, I think I still have 15 questions. These are all the questions still left in here today, so I'm sorry I can't get to them all. Let's see. We'll pull one more, maybe two. This is a long episode. You guys are probably all falling asleep anyways. All right. Shannon asks, hey, Heidi, hope all is going well. I want to start incorporating a referral program for past clients who send me new clients. Any tips on how to do this? Oh my gosh, there's so many good ways to do a referral program. One of the simplest ways would be to include something in every order. So when the client orders, you could have a formal referral, like a little card or something like that. And I when we had a more formal program, I would do cards. So it would be like, it would be a little gift certificate for each person. So you'd have a bunch of gift certificates that they could give out to their friends. And maybe it would be for a free 8x10 when they book, or some kind of incentive, booking incentive that they could give to their friends. And it almost feels like a gift to their friends because they're getting something special from you when they book their session. So that's one thing that you could do. And then also you want to referring their friends and family to you. So you want to give them some kind of incentive to spread the word. So that could be something from their session where you could give them a print or something. You could give them credits or points towards a future session. You could even, we've even done, like when we were trying to build up our senior division, a huge following of that age group, we did for anybody who referred that particular type of session that we were trying to grow, we gave out a free mini session for that referral. So you could do anything you want as the reward. You want to think of something that really fits your business and fits your brand and is worthwhile for people. So think about put yourself to my family and friends. And then of course, some kind of an incentive for the person who's booking with you as well. So really think about your business needs. What type of sessions do you want to promote? Who are the people, who are your ideal clients? Think of all those types of things as you develop your program. And then that little card could be given as it could be in their purchase when they pick up their purchase or when you mail their purchase to them. That little card could be part of your little thank you to them. If you want to get in touch with old clients who haven't ordered in a long time, you could do that through even just your newsletter, your studio newsletter, or even an email campaign where you're going through, grab your former clients, and you could let them know about the new referral program. That's something you could certainly announce on social media as well, just to try to get out there and spread the word to people who maybe haven't ordered with you in a while. So referrals are a great marketing initiative, and it's a great way to get qualified buyers into your business that are kind of predisposed to love you and your work. Okay, we'll do one more. Oh wait, I already did that one. Okay, I'm gonna do one more because I got 3 minutes left here. Did a half hour today. It's pretty good. Okay, Erica asks, what hosting sites do you recommend for your website? Did you start your website yourself or have someone build it for you? I want mine to look professional and it's so overwhelming trying to put the pieces together. Thanks. Great question, Erica. And I think I've seen this, so I'm glad we finally got to it this week. I have a tech guy who does the technical side of things for me as far as, so we have, I don't even know what our hosting site is. I know, isn't like GoDaddy one of them where you can pick a domain name?
Yeah, GoDaddy's like one that you could bundle.
GoDaddy, something like that. He just found what was the cheapest for me, and I said okay. But basically, you host your domain on a site like that, right? Then we bought templates. So I've used Pro Photo templates, and I've used Into the Darkroom templates. They're great. They're affordable. They're very professional looking. And basically my sites are WordPress sites that we then install that WordPress template made for photographers onto the site. So he does the whole installation process. I know nothing about it. I'm not good at it. It would take me too much time, and I don't have that kind of time. So that's one of those things that I outsource in my business to somebody who can do it much more quickly and efficiently. It's well worth the money, and I just work that into the overhead cost of my business. So he installed it. Then from there, I understand WordPress and I can do all the back end stuff. So the design stuff on it, we've all worked in our studio to do different elements of that. And then we can update it regularly ourselves, because it would be a lot of money to pay someone to constantly update it for us. We don't need that. I can do the WordPress end. But yeah, we bought a template geared for photographers, and I recommend Into the Darkroom and ProPhoto as two great companies for that. I'm sure there are so many more, but those are some that I've used and that have worked really well for me. And then those are installed as a WordPress site, and then I took the reins from there, and then we maintain it from there. So hope that is helpful. It is overwhelming to put the pieces together with all that stuff. So I think that's one of those things. An accountant, a lawyer, and a web guy or web lady are well worth the money spent in your business, in my opinion. So, all right. Thank you everybody for joining me for FAQ Friday. As always, please, underneath the video, right under there, there's usually a little thumbs up button. You could like it or comment underneath. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode so that I know that I'm not talking to myself. We have one more FAQ Friday coming up next week, and then I'm taking a break for the Photographer Rising online workshop. Remember, registration closes on Monday. It's such a good opportunity. Please go read the reviews, ask people who have taken the course. It's really, I'm so passionate about everything that we teach in that course, and I'm constantly adding new material, and when you sign up, you are a member for life. So every time it reruns, you get to participate, watch all the new lessons, get all the new exercises. So go check it out on photographerrising.com. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye.